Welcome back, deep divers. Today we are heading into the wilds of Scenic State Park.
Scenic State Park, beautiful spot.
Have you been there?
I haven't yet, no. I've been doing a lot of research, though, for this deep dive. So, yeah, we've got YouTube vlogs, park websites.
Hiker reviews?
Hiker reviews, yeah.
Oh, those are the best.
All sorts of stuff.
I love those.
Even some historical stuff on Wikipedia.
Ooh, I like it when we get some history in there.
Yeah, me too.
So are we going to be able to plan a trip after listening to this deep dive?
I think so. I mean, that's the goal, right?
Okay, good. Let's start with the YouTube vlogs. Those are always so fun to watch.
Always.
I found one that's called Living North, and it's these two guys,
Okay.
Jacob and his uncle, and they're glamping.
Glamping. Now, is this a camp oven situation?
Oh yeah, full on.
Really?
Camp stove and oven.
Wow.
It was fancy.
That's beyond my level of expertise when it comes to camping.
Right. I'm more of a backpacking minimalist myself, but
Yeah.
I could see the appeal.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Gourmet meals out in nature.
Gourmet meals out of nature, yes, please.
Yeah. But it sounds like they weren't quite prepared for the Minnesota weather. The vlogger mentions needing rain gear.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a really sweet moment where Jacob gets a full set of Gore-Tex from his grandpa.
Oh, I love those moments.
It's very sweet.
Like those family moments.
Yeah, very heartwarming.
Yeah. But even with the rain clouds, he talks about this serene beauty of Scenic State Park.
Okay.
It really does look peaceful.
Yeah. And, speaking of setting the scene, let's rewind the clock a little bit.
Okay.
And delve into the park's history. Did you know that Scenic State Park is the 8th oldest state park in Minnesota?
I did not know that. Where'd you get that little nugget?
That is from the Wander Without Wi-Fi YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
Ranger Jack, who they interview in the video, points out that this is really a testament to the community's effort back in the 1920s.
Wow.
To save the park's pines from being logged.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
for them.
Yeah, they really rallied to protect this land,
right.
And their dedication really paid off. Today, visitors can still wander through those tall, magnificent white and red pines, as Explore Minnesota so eloquently describes them.
I mean, that sounds amazing. And those pines aren't the only natural wonder there, right?
No, not at all.
Wikipedia says that the park has over 3,900 acres of untouched pine forest.
Yeah.
And then there's Coon Lake and Sandwick Lake.
Yeah, those lakes, they pop up in pretty much every source.
Yeah.
And the Living North YouTuber, he gives us a really great sense of scale when he describes one of the ancient trees as being probably about 3 Jacobs wide.
3 Jacobs wide.
That's how big around these trees are.
So if, we were to lace up our hiking boots right now.
Okay, yeah.
Where would we start?
Well, based on our research, the Chase Point Trail seems like a must-do.
It's consistently rated as the top hike in the park on all trails.
I mean, there's a reason why it's rated so high, right?
Exactly. And it seems to be a good fit for a variety of hikers.
Oh, good.
One reviewer even mentions enjoying the trail with her Chihuahua.
A Chihuahua?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I don't know if my Husky could keep up with that pace.
Right.
What else makes the trail special?
The Living North vlog highlights a viewing point and old growth forest along the trail.
Nice.
Which sounds amazing. And remember Ranger Jack from Wander Without Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
He mentioned that this is one of his favorite trails in the park.
Oh, okay. All right. Chase Point Trail's officially added to our itinerary. Now I gotta ask, what about wildlife? Any chance of spotting some cool critters on this hike?
Oh, you bet.
Really?
The YouTube vlogs are full of amazing encounters.
I love that.
Living North captures a really heartwarming moment where a young boy catches his first fish and then gets to see it released back into the lake.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's really precious.
I'm sensing a theme here. Scenic State Park equals heartwarming moments.
Yes, it really does seem like a place that fosters a connection with nature.
Yeah.
And loved ones. But the wildlife sightings don't stop there.
Okay.
YouTubers also spotted a variety of birds, including a kingfisher diving for prey and a flock of trumpeter swans gliding across the lake.
Nice. Oh, and remember that big old snapping turtle?
Oh, yeah. How could we forget that?
Definitely a memory that would stick with you.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty amazing to see these glimpses of the park's diverse ecosystem.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
There's got to be a whole world of wildlife beyond the camera lens.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we saw a bunch of sources that mentioned loons, owls, deer, even black bears and wolves,
Yeah, all kinds of things.
and of course the migratory fish.
Oh, right.
Okay, you've officially convinced me Scenic State Park is calling my name.
Excellent.
But before we book our trip, let's talk lodging. What are our options for spending the night under the stars?
Well, it seems like Scenic State Park caters to a range of camping styles.
Oh, okay, so like, what do they have?
You've got the glamping experience, like our YouTubers,
Right.
but there are also more traditional campsites and even remote canoe sites.
Canoe Insights. Now that sounds like an adventure. Where'd you find that?
That little gem was in the Minnesota DNR virtual tour.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really great for visualizing different areas of the park. And speaking of unique lodging, they also have a rental cabin built by the Civilian Conservation Corps,
Okay.
which sleeps 4
Wow.
and even has a fireplace.
Ooh, cozy.
Yeah.
I can already picture myself curled up by the fire after a day of exploring.
Yeah, it does sound idyllic. And if you're thinking of a group getaway,
Yeah,
the Parks and Trails Council website mentions they have a group campsite as well.
awesome. So they really have options for everyone. Any visitor tips we should keep in mind before we head out?
Definitely. Packing for variable weather is a must. Remember those YouTubers in their rain gear?
Yeah. Good point, good point. What else?
If you really want to experience the lakes,
Yes.
I would recommend bringing a canoe or kayak.
Ooh, good idea.
The DNR virtual tour mentions that rentals are available if you don't have your own.
Okay.
And while we're on the topic of the lakes, if you're thinking of fishing, you might want to temper your expectations. The Wander Without Wifey vlogger didn't have much luck.
Good to know. Maybe we'll stick to enjoying the scenery, Maybe try the park's fresh water pump. Ranger Jack made that groundwater sound pretty tempting.
Oh, yeah, he did. And speaking of Ranger Jack,
Yeah.
remember that old ranger station that the YouTube vlogger pointed out?
Uh-huh.
And all those well-preserved buildings that Wikipedia mentioned?
Yeah?
Turns out there's a fascinating story behind them.
Okay. Here's where it gets really interesting.
It does.
Are we about to uncover some hidden history?
We are. Scenic State Park has a deep connection to the Civilian Conservation Corps.
The CCC.
Yeah. Those buildings we've been talking about,
Yeah.
they were actually constructed by the CCC back in the 1930s.
Oh, wow. I had no idea the CCC had such a presence in the park.
It's a pretty significant part of the park's history.
Wow.
In fact, Wikipedia states that Scenic State Park was home to the very first CCC state park group in Minnesota.
The very first one.
The very first one.
That's amazing. So those buildings aren't just charming, they're pieces of living history.
Exactly. And Wikipedia goes on to say that these buildings were designed in the rustic style
Oh, okay.
with notable architects like G. Iverson, Edward W. Barber,
Oh, wow.
and even the National Park Service contributing to their design.
Talk about an architectural heritage.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific we should look out for when we visit?
Well, the Wikipedia article actually lists several structures that are part of the Scenic State Park CCCW Pierrostic Style Historic Resources District. There's the Shelter Pavilion, Comfort Station, Naturalist's Cabin, even a water tower and stone steps.
Wow, that's quite a collection. It sounds like Scenic State Park is a beautiful blend of nature and history.
You've hit the nail on the head.
And it's remarkable how well preserved these structures are.
Yeah.
It really speaks to the craftsmanship of the CCC and the park's commitment to honoring its past.
For sure.
Okay, CCC Architecture Appreciation officially added to the itinerary.
Good addition.
But before we get too caught up in the history,
Right.
let's circle back to those Living North vloggers.
Yeah, what else did they get up to?
Do they do anything besides cook gourmet meals and get rained on?
Oh, they had quite the adventure.
Okay.
They hiked the trails, paddled on the lake, and even attempted to build a campfire.
Oh, how'd that go?
It sounds like the damp weather made that a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, probably.
Attempt number 3, to be exact.
I remember him saying that, yeah.
Yeah,
That's all part of the fun, though, right?
absolutely. And their video really captures that sense of fun and adventure.
Yeah.
Especially the bond between the uncle and his nephew.
Oh,
You can tell they're making memories that will last a lifetime.
I love that. It's like they're creating their own Scenic State Park story.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of stories, did they have any other memorable wildlife encounters besides that snapping turtle? I mean,
Oh, They spotted a kingfisher swooping down to catch its prey, a whole flock of trumpeter swans on Coon Lake,
Wow.
and even heard the haunting calls of loons echoing across the water.
So that's what I call an up north Minnesota experience.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, all this talk about the lakes is making me think about those remote canoe and campsites.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by the idea of, paddling out to our own secluded haven.
Me too. The Minnesota DNR virtual tour describes them as being nestled among towering pines, accessible only by water.
Sounds amazing.
Can you imagine the peace and quiet?
Ultimate escape from the hustle and bustle of everyday life.
It really does.
Yeah.
And that sense of tranquility seems to be a common theme in our sources.
Okay.
Even the All Trails reviewer who hiked Chase Point Trail with her Chihuahua described it as a beautiful and peaceful experience.
It sounds like Scenic State Park offers something for everyone, whether you're seeking adventure, solitude, or simply a chance to reconnect with nature.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's no wonder it's considered one of Minnesota's most beloved state parks.
And it's not just the scenery or the activities.
Yeah.
There's a deeper sense of history and legacy woven into the very fabric of the park.
Oh, I like that.
From the towering pines that were saved by the community
Right.
to the meticulously crafted CCC buildings.
Yeah.
Scenic State Park tells a story of conservation, resilience, and the enduring power of nature.
So well said.
Oh, well.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
You too.
We've talked a lot about the lakes,
Yeah.
but I haven't really stopped to think about just how important they are to the overall ecosystem of the park.
That's a great point. The Explore Minnesota website even highlights the pristine, undeveloped lake shores
Right.
as one of the park's key attractions.
It's clear that water plays a vital role in shaping the landscape and supporting the incredible diversity of life that thrives there.
For sure.
And think about those YouTube vlogs we started with.
Right.
Remember that young boy catching his first fish in Living North?
Yeah.
It might seem like a small moment,
Right.
but it really highlights how interconnected everything is in
Yeah.
this delicate ecosystem.
Absolutely. And all those birds the YouTubers spotted, the kingfisher, the swans, the loons, they all depend on healthy waterways too.
Yeah, for sure.
Without them, Scenic State Park just wouldn't be the same.
And we can't forget those migratory fish
Oh, right.
traveling between the park and the wider watershed.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think about the journeys they make
It really is.
and how they connect Scenic State Park to a much larger ecosystem.
Yeah, it makes you appreciate the intricate web of life that exists in these natural spaces.
So for our listener who's planning a trip to Scenic State Park, what's the takeaway message here?
I think it's this. Water isn't just a pretty backdrop. It's the lifeblood of Scenic State Park.
I like that.
So whether you're paddling a canoe, casting a fishing line, or just listening to the symphony of bird calls along the shore, take a moment to appreciate how it all fits together.
Beautifully said. That awareness and appreciation is so important.
Yeah.
The more we understand about the delicate balance of these ecosystems, the better equipped we are to protect them for future generations.
Exactly.
I couldn't agree more. And you know what?
Yeah.
You've actually got me thinking about my own impact on the environment in a whole new way.
That's what it's all about. This deep dive has been a journey of discovery,
Yeah.
not just about Scenic State Park, but also about our own connection to the natural world.
Well, I think it's safe to say that our Scenic State Park deep dive has been a resounding success.
I agree. We've uncovered fascinating history, explored incredible landscapes, encountered amazing wildlife, and even gained a new understanding of how important water is to the ecosystem.
Wow. And we did it all without even leaving our chairs.
True.
But this is just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Now it's up to our listener to take what they've learned and go have their own adventure.
Exactly. Maybe they'll be inspired to try glamping like those YouTubers.
Yeah.
Explore the CCC buildings or find that peaceful canoe and campsite.
Or maybe they'll discover something completely new. That's the exciting part.
It is.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, don't forget to check out the show notes for links to all the sources we used today.
Good idea.
You can do your own deep dive into Scenic State Park and discover even more hidden gems.
And as you plan your trip, ask yourself, what kind of story will you bring back from Scenic State Park?
Ooh, good question.
Will it be about spending time with loved ones, stepping back in time, or simply finding peace and quiet in nature?
There are so many possibilities waiting for you.
Until next time, happy exploring. As we're talking about all these great things about Scenic State Park, I keep thinking about that part in the Wander Without Wi-Fi video where Ranger Jack invites them to try the fresh water pump.
Yeah, he made it sound really good.
Yeah, and it got me thinking about how water just shapes the entire experience at Scenic State Park.
Right.
Like, it's not just about the lakes themselves, but it's about how water influences the landscape, the wildlife, even the history of the park.
Yeah, it really ties everything together.
Yeah, we talked about those pristine, undeveloped lake shores,
Yeah.
those canoeing campsites. Those wouldn't exist without all the waterways that flow through the park.
Definitely not.
And remember that little boy from the Living North vlog, the one who caught his first fish?
Oh, yeah.
It was just a simple little moment.
Right.
But it really shows how everything is so interconnected in this delicate ecosystem.
It does. And all those birds that the YouTubers saw, the kingfisher, the swans, the loons, they all depend on healthy waterways too.
Yeah.
Scenic State Park just wouldn't be the same without them.
And then those migratory fish.
Yeah.
Going back and forth between the park and the wider watershed.
Yeah, it really shows you that Scenic State Park is part of something much bigger.
Right. So for anyone listening to this who's thinking about going to Scenic State Park, what's the main takeaway?
I think it's this. Water isn't just there to look pretty. It's vital to the park.
I like that. It's the lifeblood of Scenic State Park.
It is. It shapes the landscape, sustains the wildlife. Everything is connected to it in this delicate balance. So whether you're in a canoe, fishing, or just sitting on the shore, take a moment to think about that.
Well said. This conversation has made me think about how I impact the environment in a different way.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's about understanding our own connection to nature.
Well, I think we can officially say this Scenic State Park deep dive was a huge success.
We covered a lot. We learned about the history, saw amazing landscapes, encountered the wildlife, and I think we gained a new understanding of how important water is to the ecosystem.
All without leaving our chairs.
That's right.
But like all good deep dives, this is just the beginning.
It is.
Now our listeners can go have their own adventures.
Maybe they'll try glamping, like those YouTubers, see the CCC architecture, or find that peaceful canoe and campsite.
Maybe they'll discover something new. That's the best part.
Before we go, don't forget to check out the show notes for all the sources we used.
Yeah, good idea.
You can do your own deep dive into Scenic State Park and find your own hidden gems.
And as you plan your trip, think about what kind of story you'll bring back from Scenic State Park.
That's a good one.
Will it be about family, history, or just finding some peace and quiet?
The possibilities are endless.
Until next time, happy exploring.